Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, has just said something very strange about the crypto space. If you don't know who this man is, look it up for yourself. It is extremely important that you understand that this guy has crypto by the cojones. Not completely, but he's trying to as much as he possibly can. He's also the guy mostly behind the Ripple v SEC lawsuit, as again, he's the head of the SEC. So if we're talking about crypto regulation, this man right there is extremely important. Let's take a look at what he said, huh?
Look, this is a highly speculative asset class. We've known this for a long time. The ups and downs of this speculative asset class, Bitcoin, and hundreds of other tokens. And many of these tokens offer the investing public, or the investing public is hoping, I should say, hoping for a return. Just like when they invest in other financial assets we call securities. And many of these financial assets, crypto financial assets, have the key attributes.
Okay, so first of all, he's pretty slow with talking. But also, there's two fun things to this, which is, first of all, why in the world, right? Listen to me. Why in the world would you put a stable coin like Tether in this list of crypto? Like, wow, this thing is down 0.03%, all right? But it will go back to $1 within a couple of hours, couple of days. But let's showcase this to the people, that this $1 thing is 0.9991. Wow, thank you for this. I couldn't have, thanks. But then also Litecoin. Why not like other cryptos that are higher up in the top 10? I know back in the day, Litecoin used to be the really big thing, but right now? And then also in a cryptocurrency list, you put Coinbase stock, really?
Of the security. So some of them, they're under the Securities and Exchange Commission. Some, like Bitcoin, and that's the only one, Jim, I'm going to say, because I'm not going to talk about any one of these tokens, but
sure.
My predecessors and others have said they're a commodity. Working together, there's two great market regulators in this country. I had the honor to chair the CFTC, terrific agency. I have the honor now to chair the Securities and Exchange Commission. A little bit different remits, a little bit different approaches, but working together with the banking regulators as well. There's work to be done there around what's called stable coins. There's a lot of work to be done to really protect the investing public. And many of these tokens right now
Is he really talking this slow?
Trying to operate, they're potentially non-compliant, and I'll leave it at that, Jim.
Damn, okay, so again, that was awful to me. I listen to things, I'm not sure if you guys do this, at 2 times speed. Even if guys don't like this, I will press 2 times speed and I will just focus, mental, like maximum capacity focus. So that was awful to listen to. But it's a very important little piece though, because what he's basically admitted right now, you guys have to kind of listen through the whole piece then I guess to understand. But he's basically admitted that the only commodity as of this point that he can call out is Bitcoin. Breaking news, the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, has said that Bitcoin is the only crypto he is ready to call a commodity as of this point. He's not trying to call specifics, which is funny because I honestly think that this is all going to bite him in the ass at one point. I think this might get caught up in the Ripple v SEC lawsuit because that apparently means that there's no determination made on Ethereum as of this point, right? Otherwise, he could just say it, or at least this makes things a whole much more difficult because that means that Bitcoin has got the proper regulatory clarity or hasn't it? What exactly does this speech of his mean? Does it mean that Bitcoin is good or does it just mean this is his opinion and we can't derive anything from that? Now, I don't want to go too far into this because I might get overly emotional, I guess. And I shouldn't, you know? This is crypto news. It's not a diary that I'm reading. It's not a soap opera. No, this is real life, real cryptocurrency, real actual news about regulation. It's as serious as it comes. But the hypocrisies, it's too funny to me. It's too, in not funny way, it's too funny. It's too ironical, even though it's not funny. Not at all. But let's move on to this one. John Dean, the Congressional Oversight Committee, have failed miserably with the SEC. You give Gary Gensler, the guy that we just talked about, $2.2 billion with please stop hurting innovation. What's next? He files a lawsuit versus the exchanges for selling securities without telling them which ones are securities. I didn't have a table to kick over, but that would have been kind of funny, right? Are you going to stop, pretty please? And we could go really deep into this one because it's like a rabbit hole, really, all right? It is. Eleanor Tourette said to issue public guidance that promotes US-based innovation. In other words, here's the money you requested to regulate crypto, but please try to not spend it all on regulation by enforcement cases and provide some clarity instead, but they're not really doing that. You guys all know they go through a method of, let's just get this money. Let's get this. These guys are actual hustlers, you know? They're like, let's get this bread. Let's grab $2.2 billion. But then let's also just sue these guys. I wanted to say something else, but let's be, let's keep it PC. Let's sue these people for a couple $1 billion as well. Why? Because who's going to stop us? They're like villains. It's like watching a movie, but I guess it's kind of funny. There's also one new piece of the Ripple lawsuit that just came out. Ripple versus SEC. The Ripple defendants have filed a letter opposing the SEC's continued efforts to seal its response to Amici. My Latin it's been a little while since I had my Latin lessons. I don't know how you pronounce stuff anymore. Regarding the SEC's expert, stating that the SEC's arguments are on their face about shielding the SEC from public criticism. As we stated before, guys, this issue is just regarding the expert, whom said to SEC and the judge and everybody that he knew exactly why XP holders bought XRP. But then John Deaton and 70,000 XP holders looked at it and were like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. None of us think that this is why we bought XRP, so that ain't true. So John Deaton wants to come in and explain that story. But the SEC was like, absolutely not. And then regarding that discussion, they're trying to hide a lot of information, and Ripple's not trying to come in and explain why a lot of this stuff should not be hidden, basically. As again, they're replying to the SEC's continued efforts to seal their response to John Deaton's request to come on into the lawsuit. And sealing basically just means hiding it from the public. So they're trying to hide some specific informational pieces, mostly regarding the expert himself, which partially is understandable. Ripple's not trying to say, let everything be public, but a lot of the parts the public deserves to know. Specifically, if this guy dares to say that he knows why XP holders invested into XRP. All right, you guys already know enough about XRP for right now. All right, enough news for right now about XRP. This is crypto related. And take a look at what Will Clement just shared. Bitcoin is incredibly cheap right now. Fair enough, I've shared this multiple times. It has only traded this far below the 200-day trend, and its aggregate cost basis for 3% of its entire existence. And that this goes for the entire crypto market, mostly. For a lot of the altcoins, which I think are valid, if you guys get my drift, right? A lot of the altcoins which are in my, like my top 20 to top 200 little list. For all of these, it kind of works in the exact same manner, but what it basically showcases is how low the Bitcoin price right now is relatively to where it's been in the past. And it's only been a couple of times, and I guess 3% of its entire existence, that you've gotten to buy relatively this low. Again, it does not mean that you're getting to buy the lowest price ever, as obviously Bitcoin has been below $1,000 for years upon years. It is saying relatively, the price has now come down so significantly that, again, relatively, got to use this word not sparingly, but extensively, you're getting a very good deal. You're basically buying yourself a very good dip buying now, regardless of whether or not the recession kicks in and prices come lower. Right now is, in my own opinion, and following the analytics, a good freaking moment to buy. Having said that, I've also told you guys a couple of times that one of these big surges might really be up ahead, and Altcoin Daily just shared this. Wells Fargo just released a report stating Bitcoin is nearing an inflection point for the hyper adoption phase similar to the internet in the late 1990s. And this is a little bit of a difficult chart for some people, but I can explain it easily to all of y'all. Over on the right, we have the number of crypto users over in the millions, which again is how high up this little thing goes right here. And on the left, we have the quota for number of internet users in millions, but luckily enough, they represent the exact same thing. On the bottom, we have the dates for the internet. On the top, you have the dates for crypto, which basically showcases this little point right here is 2014 for Bitcoin, but 1993 for the internet, all right? It's to put it into perspective. And that showcases for the first, I guess, 8 or so years right here, it showcased the price action. Sorry, guys, not actually the price action, the adoption scale for crypto. Again, you have to look at this x-axis and this y-axis right here. So you have to look at, respectively, from 2014 to 2022, it went from, let's say, 0 to, it's kind of hard to say. It's looking as if they put like 300 million or so. I'm not sure how high that number should be. And they're basically saying that right now we've come at an inflection point. Now, in actual reality, it's hard to say there's one of these inflection points in this. It's looking to be increasingly ascending like the whole line. It's like literally parabolic. But I guess what they're showcasing is this inflection point right here. I think they might just be stating it's going from linearly up sort of into parabolic up, or just following the same curve of increasing. I'm not sure exactly how to say it in English again. I sometimes say it as an increasing ascending line. But you guys understand what I mean with increasingly increasing, right? That the rate of increase keeps going up. Takes me back to university with second derivatives. But nonetheless, this is really good. Most of it perspective that people can't look this far ahead. But this is a fun thing. If you think of the internet in 1993, all right? I can't really remember that, but you guys understand my drift. If you think of the internet in 1993, it apparently had frick all users. But then you look at where it is today. It's still not at the complete end, I guess, yet. But just, again, understand what we're seeing right here. You can't really predict how far this crypto stuff is going to be in 20 years from now, because 20 years, so much stuff changes. Think of 20 years ago. You know how different the freaking world was. It's just hard for our brains to comprehend that Bitcoin could, for example, really go to those $50 million values, or an XRP can really go to 100 or 200 or 700 bucks or whatever. Our brains can't comprehend how much wealth changes. Literally, I get excited when I think about this. Inflation. Who predicted that the numbers would be this crazy? We can't comprehend, our brains can't comprehend what a recession is going to look like the next time, because it's been such a long while ago. People never expect the recession to hit, and once it does, it really exceeds every single expectation of how heavy the recession could be. And the same thing happens for the bull cycle, so to speak. People expect some sort of top, but usually it way exceeds that top and way exceeds all the expectations which people had for it. And the same thing I think goes for the adoption too. It's really hard to comprehend how crazy fast this technology can go once it actually starts rolling. And there's definitely something to be said about the fact that it's already starting to roll for the last 8 years. And right now, it's starting to get at a curve point where, if I really talk about my own circles, right, there's absolutely no one that hasn't heard of this crypto Bitcoin thing before. A really big difference between how many have bought it, that's a really different thing, or how many trust it. But I'm talking about have heard about it before. And again, I've been making these videos for over 5 years. If you look back at the 2017 or 2016 me, and you ask me, are you telling people about crypto stuff? They'll be like, they don't understand. They don't know what it is. They don't know what I'm talking about. So much has changed in the last 6 years. And that's also what I'm trying to point at with all of a sudden it's starting to go really, really rapid. And maybe over the next 5 years, all of a sudden, literally, the majority of the world will have known about it. And then the actual usage starts to go up really, really exponentially as well. Was that what this was today's video? That was it for today's video. There we go. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, you might want to press that like button because, that would be pretty cool.